best kept secret of the rich is not brilliance. So the best kept secret of the rich is not genius. The best kept secret of the rich is the management of time. Once we've employed our skill, once we've gone to the marketplace and we know the deal, and once we start to render service, the other is the conservation and the management and the utilization of time. The key is to gather wisdom, knowledge, strength, resources, and then make sure that they're wisely used. And that's a lifetime challenge, the wise use of resources. And one of those challenges, of course, is the management of time. I've got 4 approaches to the management of time. Here they are. Number 1, ignore the subject. And that's valid. Don't let anybody talk you into what they think is, quote, best for your life. You be the decision maker on what's best for your life. Let me and all the faculty and everybody else give you our best shot. Then you take it from there and design your own life. Don't let somebody else design your life. Let somebody else give you input. Let somebody else give you the benefit of their experience. Let somebody else offer their wise words. Let somebody else offer you, through their language, a window on experience and opportunity, but don't let somebody tell you how to design your life. We all need a variety of sources of input, but we don't need anybody to tell us what to do. It's okay if they tell us what to do, but then we take that, we put it through our own mental program based on our own priorities, based on what we think is valuable for our own personal life. So don't let anybody put you in a box called, quote, success. There is no such box. Driving a certain car, have to earn a certain kind of money. Resist all that. Here's what success is: the steady progress in reaching your own personal goals. That's what success is. The steady progress in reaching your own personal goals. Designing your life like you want it and making steady progress to get there. That is your personal design. So don't let anybody design your life for you, tell you how you ought to live. Let them give you the principles as they see them. Let them give you the truth as they see it. Let them give you their view from their perspective. But then you take that into account and then you go design your own life. So somebody says you have to be ambitious. Ambition is a wonderful thing, but choose your own ambition. You work as much as you want to. We say this, and this, and then take that into account. Yes, take it as information. Yes, take it as input. Yes, but then you mix all of that into the portion that is valuable for you, and then you go about designing your own life. I'm telling you, be an individual. Don't be just part of the group, but dress like the group, act like the group, talk like the group. You design your own life. And that concerns everything, including the management of time. Because success, there's no stereotype for what success is. Success is the progressive realization of your own goals, and as fast as you want them to unfold, that is your business. If you want to go slow, by gosh, you go slow. And let the whole world say, you ought to go fast, you ought to go fast. Take that into account, but when all of those voices are still in the middle of the night, let your own voice speak to you and march at your own beat of the drum. Once I finally settled on this, I'm telling you, it relieved me of almost all anxiety. I'm going to do my best to find out what success, how far I can go, what the possibilities are, but then I finally decided to design my own life. If a man tells me, hey, Mr. Rohn, soon I'm going to cash it all in, I'm heading for the mountains, I'm going to live in a cabin, I'm going to live off the land, and I'm going to feed the squirrels the rest of my life. If I find out he went and did that, in my opinion, he's a smashing success. So don't let somebody design your car and design your clothes and design your future and say you got to live here, do this, and you got to manage this and manage this. Resist all that. I'm not saying don't listen. I'm not saying don't take it into account. I'm not saying don't let it be input for your mind, heart, and soul. But then you use all those ingredients to then fashion your own life. That step down to something easier that doesn't require as much time. That's all valid as well. Guy works for a company, says, oh, I got to own one of these. Owns one of these, and now his life is not his own. He's got to put in 18 hours a day, and his income's cut in half. He says, heck with it. I'd rather work for the company than to own one. I used to play golf 3 days a week and live a stress-free life. You know, guys in sales and says, oh, I got to be one of them managers and get me one of them big desks. Find out that the big desks is half the pay and twice the work. And finally says, heck with this. I'll step back where I was. So that's valid. If you're too busy for your family, you got to join a slower group or scale back your high ambitions to be a mega billionaire. You know, you don't need to be a mega billionaire, in my personal opinion, unless that's your all-consuming life obsession. But if you've got some other priorities, don't neglect those at the expense of something else. There were some things I went for in those early days, I'm telling you, cost me too much. If I'd have known what it was going to cost, I never would have paid. But same things you can only know by what? The bitter experience. But take into account your own experience. I don't think the day will ever come when you're about ready to pass on to the great beyond and you were to say, oh my gosh, I should have spent more time at the office. I'm telling you, that's probably not going to happen. So, priorities here. You know, let all of us give you some ideas, but let you design it for yourself. I'm telling you, if you want to change your whole lifestyle, settling for something that isn't so demanding. Now, sure, if you've got big projects and big plans, you know, go for all of those. But here's what an ancient script says. Put this in your notes. Always count the cost. Before you go for something, what's it going to cost? Now, you have to pay the price. If you want the fortune, you have to pay the price. And you don't have to throw away virtues and values to make a fortune. We're going to talk about that a little later. But evaluate everything and what it's going to cost in terms of family relationship, time, effort, energy. So that's valid. Here's another time management alternative, and that's work longer and harder. Now, you do have to be careful here because if you reach the outer limits like I did that first year, I got so excited about changing my income and changing my life and changing my future, you know, from that last 6 years that I didn't like, was embarrassed about, going for the next 6 years. That first 6 years, I'm telling you, the first year, I almost lost my health. You know, I'm skinny as it is, but I became a walking shadow. I lost about, 23, 24 pounds. Couldn't afford to lose that much. You know, I'd been skinny all my life. In high school, I turned sideways. They called me absent. I mean, you know, I disappeared. Tried to play football, almost got killed. Had to settle for less violent sports. But I'm telling you, that first year, I used to say, hey, if 12 hours won't do it, I'll work 14. If 14 won't do it, I'll work 16. If 16 won't get it done, no problem, I'll work 18. Right? Still got 6 hours left to sleep. But there finally came a time when it really now was endangering my health. And then it suddenly occurred to me, what if I got rich and too ill to spend it? Wouldn't that be foolish? So finally, I got enough sense to pull back into a little more normal workload. But I got so excited that first year that I sort of lost, took leave of my senses for a little while. And this is valid, work longer and harder if you're not working very hard and you're not working very long. So it is valid, work longer and harder. Now here's the fourth one, to get more out of yourself. To become more valuable to yourself, more valuable to the enterprise, more valuable to the day, more valuable to the cause. Developing skills that help to conserve time. Because finally you can do, right, in an hour that used to take 8 hours. Now you can get more done in one day. It used to take you 30 days, right? Careening from wall to wall, right? And trying to make it all fit. Now, efficiency comes from skills. And that's the whole key here, is to develop this repertoire of skills so that your efficiency starts to go up, go up, go up. It only takes an hour now. Learning to talk to multiple people instead of just one. You talk to 5 instead of 1. Your efficiency goes sky high. Talk to 10 instead of 1. Talk to 20 instead of 1. I have a chance now to talk to 1,000 instead of 1. You can imagine the efficiency and the accomplishment that could happen from depositing someone's experience in this many minds of consciousness that can turn it into progress. It's amazing. Efficiency. Now, I could be effective talking to each of you one at a time, but it would take a long time. And it is not quite as effective doing it by group as one-on-one, because we could get a little more personal. I could ask you some questions and tailor it a little bit, right, just to fit you, and we might get more efficiency. But for the sake of just one being a little more efficient, I can be this much more effective. Not quite as efficient in the group, but a lot more effective in terms of the overall chain reaction of what this might do for you, plus where it might go from you. You run the day or it runs you. The real key to the management of time is to do your best to stay in charge. Now, sometimes when you get something going, you're in charge when you start, but pretty soon it's in charge, and you're the one that's being run around. So the key is stay in charge of your day. Now, here's what else I found out that was exciting. A normal day committed to labor is enough time. A normal day, 10 hours, 12 hours, that's enough time. 10 hours is plenty. 8 hours is enough. 12 is, hey, that's enough available resource in terms of time. The time you've committed to labor is probably enough time, right? Unless you're lazy, and you're only putting in a couple of hours a week and drifting the rest of the time, then you need to look at that. But it's not the hours you put in. Here's a good note. It's not just the hours you put in, it's what you put in the hours that counts. Long hours, but no efficiency, no true value, no high skills, and it's true, then time doesn't yield that much in terms of reward and equity and product. Now, here's some time management essentials. Make this list. Number 1, a written set of goals. And if you don't have that, we're going to do a little workshop here, a little model workshop on setting goals this afternoon. So if you haven't got a written set of goals, hopefully we can cure that before this day's finished. Then you need to constantly review your goals, go over them. Then you need to arrange them in priority. We're going to do a bit of that. Simplified version. What's important, what isn't important, what to spend time on, what not to waste time on. Then, second time management essential is a plan to achieve your goals. And that's a variety of pieces that it takes to develop a good plan for achievement. A good plan for this business, a good plan to build an organization, a good plan to, expand throughout the country and eventually around the world. You need a good plan for that. Here's some more essentials for time management. Learn to separate majors from minors. What's a major conversation? What's a minor conversation? If you spend major time on minor conversations, I'm telling you, it's a big waste of time. And if you don't give enough time to a major conversation, now that's ineffective. If you pick up the phone, is this a major call or a minor call? All right? Is this a casual gathering or a very formal, important gathering? If it's informal, hey, you don't need to give it that much thought. If it isn't, if it is important, if it is formal, if it is going to have a great effect on the future, then you've got to give it time. Next, time management essential. Don't mistake movement for achievement. I found in those early days it was easy to get faked out by being busy. Guy puts in 12 hours, comes home at night exhausted, falls into the chair and says, oh, I've been going. Here's the big question. Doing what? I mean, it's the what that counts, not the going. So don't get faked out by being busy. Some people are busy all day, but they're doing figure eights, not making much progress. Next is concentration. You got to zero in on the project at hand. In sports, just a little loss of concentration. There goes the game, there goes the match. Someone puts the ball by your feet, it's over. Got to wait for another time. So don't lose your concentration. Next, learn to say no. It's so easy in a, social society we live in to say yes too quick, commit ourselves too quick too soon, and then take all the time as necessary to call back, say doesn't look like I can make it, don't look that good, better to say I'm not sure I can, if that changes I'll call. Those kind of strategies really work. One of my colleagues says don't let your mouth overload your back, obligating yourself too quick to too much too soon. Next, time management essential. When you work, work. When you play, play. Don't mix the two. And part of the key here also is don't think about play at work, if you can help it. If you can remove some of those distractions from the work area. On time management efficiency, and that's to analyze yourself. Some things you're good at, not good at. Things you're good at, see if you can expand that. Things you're not good at, if you're not going to do them, see if you can get it covered.